The Responsive Universe by Multigen Mindset Institute. We start this talk off by asking a question, and that question is, what makes the universe respond? What makes your goals come true? What makes your wishes and your dreams and your preferences come true? What causes things to unfold in a way that you would prefer most? What is it that causes things to move, right? And we move through life wanting to expand and to grow and to get more security and to get more stability and to have experiences and to love more and to produce more. And we are, as our essence is life, always seeking to live, to expand. And when there's an unmet expectation, there's an invitation to feel something of some kind of negative range of the emotional tone scale, like frustration, anger, resentment, blame. And every moment of life, there's invitations, right? So there's give and take. And in this life that we live, we're navigating how to become better and better and how to handle circumstances better, and for there to be less of a lag between when you declare and make a decision for something to be and the thing becoming into being. You can call it a communication lag. Have you ever been on the phone or a Zoom call with somebody and they're speaking and you're not hearing them for 12 seconds later, 6 seconds later, and it's just so impossible to communicate that way. And that's how we experience life, is that we're like, I want to do this, and I want to get this, and I want to have this, and I want to become this, and I want to help this person, and I want to build this business, and I want to write this and see this and go here and do this. There's so many things around us all the time that we're saying, I want to do, right? Outreaching. And when we're communicating with our world, our sphere of influence, and the universe and our lives, when we're communicating our preferences and they're not met or they continue to be delayed, you experience something. And it's in that gap that the future is made. And you got to find that gap between I am and I am being, or forgive me, I am and I am becoming. Between I am and who you will be is the new I am, right? There's a space in time, there's a gap. And it's within that gap that the definition of who you will become on the other side of that gap is determined. And so how do we cause the universe to change circumstances, bring goals, allow us to create things in a quicker manner without so much of a time lag? Well, the first thing is, what is causing the time lag? The question that brings us to clarity is, are we reactive or proactive? Because there's stimulus and response. And with that, you have offensive and defensive. So what are you choosing, and how are you naturally reacting to that gap between where you are and where you want to be? Because in that response mechanism, that's when you're squeezed, right? So when you squeeze an orange juice comes out, and when God and the universe and circumstances in life squeezes you, then you're not able to move life. It's when you get to the place through identity and awareness and understanding and self-forgiveness and the universal laws that you begin to feel bigger than life. And when you feel bigger than life, you can move life, right? And so somebody in their full anointing and somebody in their full power and their full spirit and not in a reactive state, and they have healed the trauma, and they know the spiritual laws, they know how to function, they know how to declare a thing and make a postulate and cause it to come into being. Somebody who is fully godlike. They're not at these low tones to respond to things in a reactive state. They are able to stand in the gap, notice emotions without riding the wave of one of them and then I aming them. So when you're at the lowest tone scale, when you're the lowest of the emotional, which is the lowest state, you're more isolated. And Dr. David Hawkins' work, Power versus Force, in the book Letting Go, in that there's a chart from 1,000 to 0. 0 is death, 1,000 is complete epiphany, complete oneness. It's total and complete surrender, glee, and joy. At the lowest of the tone scale, you're more isolated. At the top of the tone scale, you're one with all. All is one, indefensible and indestructible. Nothing can take you down tone, because you have complete understanding that if something came into your experience, it must be for good. You have the power to convert that thing to good, and you are in a complete causative state where your cause, stimulus comes, instead of respond, you cause again, you cause back, right? So the world comes, drop in business happens, something negative. Instead of react to get into some negative emotional state, you begin causing and causing and causing. Okay, well, our statistics dropped. Let's put in some action. Let's promote. Let's get some things done. Let's be decisive. Let's respond to this with action. So you begin causing back, but there's not in the gap of, oh, this isn't my preference. I'm in a situation, whatever it may be, where this isn't my preference. I'm uncomfortable. Instead of getting reactive and feeling the negative emotions, the person's got the willpower, the power of their spirit, their spiritual power, right? Their ethical rightness, and that person's able to be bigger than life and out-cause the universe and reverse the circumstance to be back into its preference, drive those statistics back up, get those cells back in, get those cells' names on the board, right? Fill up the pipeline, fix the relationship, fix the broken communication cycle with your friend, make the thing right with the person from last year, right? You're able to be cause and start making the decisions that didn't go well for you right. One of my greatest mentors told me one time, you are not here to make all the right choices. And you need to give yourself that grace and forgiveness, because you're not here to make all the right choices. But what you are here to do, and have the power to do, is to make all your decisions right. That's what you do have the power to do and to be. And when you become being that person, making things right, being as ethical as you can, getting all your relationships from a chaotic state to an organized state, you begin to have power over circumstance. With that comes authority. It's when you come at life with desires and preferences and the way you want life to be, and you're moving life and you're telling life what you want, and you're getting the universe to behave. Another one of my mentors, I was on the phone with her one time, and I said, well, I got this in motion, I've got this in motion, I've got this in motion, and I got this in motion. I just need these things to start dropping in. I got this lined up and this lined up, and I'm just in a dry space, and I just need movement to happen in each one of these areas. And my mentor, as calmly as she could be, she says, well, you just need to whip that universe you just get that universe, whip it into shape, don't you? Telling me I'm bigger than life. I need to whip this universe into space and into behaving. I need to whip this universe into providing my preferences, not giving me distress, not giving me bad circumstances, because I'm not receiving it. I'm not going to take it, right? You are the top and not the bottom. You're the front and not behind. That's directly out of the New Testament and the words of Jesus. It's the most amazing thing when you start realizing authority, that who you are, right? You're not a body. You are in a body. You are not your given name. My name is Joshua Crampton. That name was given to me. That name was given to this body, and I am controlling and inside of this body. I am bigger than this body. I am not of this earth, right? When you start realizing your identity as a spiritual being, that has been and it always will be, your authority to move life, to cause life to be, and to cause life to give you the circumstances that you prefer, that authority comes from acting, but acting from the right place. Offense is going after a thing. We have the ball. Me and my team are going down the field, and we have a goal literally in mind. and we are doing actions against the universe, which is a barrier universe. This universe is a reflective universe, and man lives off of the resistance that the universe gives us because it causes us to grow. When we go after things and life resists us and our body resists us and the things and our goals seem to elude us, we keep going and we keep going and we keep going. Right? So it's the resistance that the universe gives us is your good. Defense is when you get into this space of responding. You begin to I am things in the wrong way. Right? So that's when you begin to say, I am angry. I am upset. I am bothered. I am uncomfortable. You're I aming these emotions as if they're your identity. So you are no longer a spiritual being basically controlling a human body. You are now angry. You are angry. That's the wrong language. That's the wrong way to speak to yourself. And that's the wrong way to take ownership. You can notice there is anger, but you are not angry. You can be not angry and notice that there's an invitation to be angry. And that's when you're separating yourself internally from the emotional responses and not allowing an emotional response, not going on the wave of the emotion, because there's a story that's instantly being told the moment that a stimulus is given to you. Somebody snaps at you in a literal split second. There's a story being told in your mind about what's interpreting the thing. And your reactive mind is your protective mind. It's the snap back mind. It's the F you mind. It's the I'll defend myself mind, right? It's your spiritual higher being that in that split second that story is told can choose to not believe it. To choose, nope, I don't need that. No, thank you. And that's when you start speaking to the emotions. Anger, I don't need you. No, thank you. I don't need you. You're not needed here. You're not a good tool. I don't need your help anymore. Thank you. But anger, I don't need you. You're not welcome here. And then there's something you can ask yourself. You could say, if I got angry, I could ... If I didn't get angry, I could ... And you finish the sentences in your own head. So you ask yourself in a situation of stimulus, you could say, if I got angry, I could... And you realize that there's nothing on the other end of that. But if you say, if I didn't get angry, I could respond calmly. I could get the situation dissolved versus stimulated. If I didn't get angry, I could handle. If I didn't get angry, I could process. If I didn't get angry, I could be wise in my response. You remember, the Bible says, there's a scripture in there that says, the wise man sits still whilst the fool continues forward. And I believe it's talking about this. It's in that space and it's in that gap that your highest authority and identity can be claimed. It's in that space of the stimulus happened, there's this gap, and you are noticing an invitation to have an emotional response of anger, resentment, blame, and you're saying, no, thank you. I don't need any of those. This situation is not going to be in any kind of way labeled. I'm not going to call it bad and make it permanently bad. This situation on paper could be negative, but we're going to convert it to positive because that is our power. I'm not going to accept the negative circumstance. We're going to take action and we're going to make it into good. And that is the power that you have. And it's the emotional response, and that you gain your power back because you no longer have to be angry. You no longer have to be upset, disappointed, and sad. Those are warning signs from your emotional system, which is very complex, but it's in those emotions that when you respond to life from that or take action from one of those frameworks, that you're putting out into the universe negativity. So you can get angry and take an action, right? And some would say, okay, well, if he's angry and he's taking an action of a positive, that could be good. So if you've not been going to the gym and you get so angry about it, and finally you get pissed off enough that you're tired of feeling bad, you get your ass up and you go back to the gym, that's great, because that anger just moved you in a positive direction. right? So it's still in a way transmuting negative to positive, because going to the gym and working those muscles and pumping those weights and sweating and working up that testosterone and sweating out the toxicity, that is a good nature. So you're putting good into the universe and back into yourself. But if you were to get angry and then, make a phone call, right? You're going to cause destruction on the other end of that, because anger is a negative emotion and you're choosing an output that's negative. So you're going to get negative back. And so the universe only reflects back what you're putting out, The universe is going to keep giving you circumstance so that you keep feeling that, because you're the author, you're the boss. The universe works for you. It's saying, okay, what do you want today? It's inviting you to take authority and authorship and begin declaring and decreeing to these circumstances to dissolve and unfold to your advantage. The flip in all this, and the way that you move from one emotion to the higher emotion, there's a transition. And the transition is very easy. It's called gratefulness. When you're in any kind of a way and you begin thanking the universe for this experience of anger or whatever it is that you are feeling, and instead of reflecting it back, you're saying, hey, I received this. I understand that I am angry and I don't want to be angry. Why? What are you wanting me to learn? And you begin asking the universe, asking God, asking your deepest self what you need to learn through the situation. What is the invitation? What is behind it? And there's a lesson in everything. And when you begin looking for the lesson within the circumstance, you begin unlocking the ways to maneuver the circumstance to your benefit. There's a lock and a key to every continuing and persistent circumstance. People get frustrated when they continue working towards something and they can't cause it to come into being. Then they get frustrated. And you're like, okay, how do I unlock this matrix? What is causing this persisting circumstance? What am I doing to persist it? Because I want it to stop. I'm telling the universe I want it to change. Why is it not changing? Why is I'm not losing weight? Why am I not back in the gym? Why is this and this and this? How do I convert this to good and take my power back? And the universe is saying, well, I'm here at your command. When you start commanding, stop blaming. When you stop feeling victimhood and start feeling grateful, that's when you start putting the keys in the lock and turning them. And lock by lock by lock by lock, you unlock the situation to be at your command. You can't do that without the right authority. You can't authorize from the wrong authority. You have to start saying, no, I rebuke these things. I don't want these things. These are not the circumstances that I want in my life, and I declare them changed and done, and the cycles of those negative karmas are completed. I declare and I demand and I declare, based on the authority of my spiritual being, of my essence, of always continuing to get better and better, and the law of growth, I declare that the growth cycles are beginning, and I am now looking for the lesson and the pain. And you begin converting and unlocking those locks, and little piece by piece you can work that situation back up into a place where you love where you are, you love what you're doing, you love where you're going, you love what's unfolding, you're happy with yourself, you're proud of who you're being, and you get happy. That's the difference between operating on a spiritual level and a reactive human level. And you're seeking to move as a spiritual being with divine authority over circumstance. And that's who you're seeking to become. If you felt like this talk was meaningful and helpful, then visit multigenmindset.com or any one of our social channels to watch more educational videos, or buy life enhancement courses, or to get video courses. Thank you for listening.